I got 4 listings right now, and we had 4 showings in the last 2 weeks. Sellers still think it's 2021, and they're referring to what their neighbors sold for recently and back a few years ago. In this video, I'm going to show you the numbers, the charts, and where the market is actually going. As of June 2025, the GTA average home price in Law of Toronto is 1.16 mil. And that's down from a year ago. Detached homes are sitting about 1.45 mil. Semis, about 1.1 mil. Townhouses, they're sitting about 956,000. Condos, 728,000. All these numbers are down from last year. Pretty much every property is seeing a decline from last year. So what's happening with buyer psychology? Because this really matters in the real estate market. Well, we had FOMO a few years ago where everyone wanted to buy. Right now, we have a bit of a freeze. A lot of buyers are holding back. Well, they used to be scrambling, not anymore. Some are nervous, some are hesitant. They fear maybe losing their job or what's happening around the world. And some won't pull the trigger unless it's really priced well, that property that is. So with rising living costs, just everything getting more expensive and fuels going up, everything else is going up like food and entertainment and everything else. Some are just waiting to see what's going to happen. So here's the thing, form some pressure into the cycle, because if there's less purchasers out there, prices tend to either plateau or decline, depending on the neighborhood though, because some neighborhoods are actually still very resilient. And one of the issues that's causing this sort of a freeze in the market right now, that sellers they're looking back at what their neighbors sold for a year ago, 3 years ago, which is not the case anymore. You can't use old data like that. You really, in this market, you have to look at comparables within the last 30 days. Even 6 months ago, that data is obsolete. But the thing is, buyers are using 2025 data. So sellers that are very realistic with their pricing of their property do still sell. But to sell, you still have to position yourself in a strong way. So have proper presentation, meaning that staging, decluttering, getting your home really showroom ready, like worthy of magazine, proper video, proper pictures, and lots of marketing. But at the end of the day, pricing is the thing that matters the most. All those other things I mentioned about, they do help you sell at the top range of what your home is worth, but within a reasonable range. You still have to do all those things to maximize your sale price. But realistically, though, there's no amount of staging, pictures, or a bunch of open houses that can get you to a certain price point. It all comes down to if the seller is realistic with the pricing of today's market. And you can't just use comparables anymore, which it seems like a lot of sellers are using. They're using comparables from 6 months ago, a year ago, which you can't. You have to actually position yourself against the competition. So when you're looking at comparables, you should be looking at your competition as well. That is, what are you competing against in your neighborhood or even in a adjoining neighborhood? Because buyers are buying value right now. And here's the interesting thing some buyers are paying attention to is that there are some homeowners that purchased in 2020 to 2022 with very low rates before the increase of rates. And a lot of them are renewing now to 2026. And because of that, though, the steeper increase in interest rates might affect some homeowners where they might have to sell. I'm not seeing a lot of that happening right now, but that is the storyline that we're seeing in a lot of headlines from lots of other media sources. So these owners that have these lower interest rates and they have to renew it for these higher ones, some of them might have to put their homes on market, which might increase the supply. But our supply is not crazy high right now, depending on the neighborhoods you're looking at. Desirable neighborhoods are still selling within reason, assuming that sellers are very realistic with their pricing. If you're in the condo market, you have to be priced very aggressive. And you have to remember that real estate goes over cycles. There's a cycle. So usually it starts with recovery, expansion, hypersupply, then recession. We're in the hypersupply / recession part of the market right now. What does that mean? It means that there's lots of properties. Buyers are not absorbing or not purchasing all the properties that are on the market at a very fast rate. And that might or might not lead to the recession part of the cycle, meaning that the market becomes a very strong buyer's market, which we're seeing in the condo market. Freehold market, depending on the neighborhood, they're still selling within reason. Those markets are balanced seller's market. I see it in the desirable neighborhoods. So that's why you start looking in value neighborhoods if you're looking to buy right now. This is a chance for some homeowners to actually do the upgrade from a condo or condo townhouse to these secondary neighborhoods, which is not like High Park or Roncesvalles. Those are always going to be desirable. They still have multiple offers, believe it or not, in those areas. You'll look into areas like Oakwood Village, East York, some parts of Upper Beaches. You go for a little bit further east. There's value to be had right now. And those neighborhoods are going to, in my opinion, going to increase a lot once the market picks up again. So what's happening? Well, sellers are finally coming to realization of where the market is right now. The ones that have been on the market for a while. Now the market's telling them where they should be. Some of them are finally listing. Same with my clients right now. Buyers are still cautious. They're buying for value. So unless you're priced well, they're not jumping on your property. So if you're priced where your comparables are 6 months ago, they're not buying those properties. They're buying ones that are more value. So a little bit price lower than those. And the media is split on this. Some say that we're in a buyer's market. Some say we're a balanced market. I've even seen some that says we're in a seller's market. Well, they're not wrong. It all depends on the neighborhood. But you look at Toronto as a whole, we are in a declining market right now as a whole, because there are some areas that had huge price growth during 2020, 2021, and before the rates increased. So some buyers are trying to time the bottom. I'm going to tell you right now, impossible. By the time the headlines say we're at the bottom of real estate market, you're too late, because usually data is usually about 30 days behind. And the media and a lot of headlines that you're seeing are using old data. Unless you're in the trenches, meaning that you're actually actively looking, actually comparing prices and keeping an eye out. By the time the media says that we're at the bottom, you missed out already. We're pretty much going to be coming back up. Past corrections like in 2008, 2017, which I had the privilege of working through, I've seen similar traits. And I even had some buyers try to time the market. They missed it completely. This is what you do if you're trying to essentially find a deal. Realistically, if you're trying to find something that's priced well, you have to be watching and seeing places like right now all the time. And you look for properties that have strong fundamentals, like in a great neighborhood or have potential future neighborhood. Those are two good things that you look for. Good layouts, like a home that has a great layout. That really matters. Like no weird corners, that sort of stuff. And that they're priced well in today's market, because you just never know. You never know where prices are going to go in the future. All it takes is like a little flip, then prices start climbing back up again. Or it could go the other way. But having said that, you're not buying your home and selling within 1 or 2 years. You're buying your home and hopefully staying 5 to 10 plus years. If that's the case, and time in the market is, in my opinion, is a waste of time. What you do is look for places that are priced well right now. And they do come out, because there are motivated sellers out there, not just because of the mortgage, but they want to move on, or they have to go on to something else, either through upgrading, leaving the city, maybe it's they can't afford it. All those factors gives them motivations to sell. So don't wait for the headline to tell you to buy. Start looking right now. If you're looking to buy a home right now, use those points, what I said earlier, to strategize how you make a decision. If you're looking to buy in the next 1, 2, 3 months, this is my checklist of what you should do. Make sure you're pre-approved with your bank mortgage broker. I usually use a mortgage broker, and same with a lot of my clients, but it's up to you who you feel comfortable with. But get that in line right now. Identify 2 to 3 neighborhoods that you want to move into and start investigating those neighborhoods and start keeping an eye on those properties, because you'll see a deal come up. You will. Because if let's say all the semi-detached homes are usually priced between 1.3 to 1.5, and see one come at 1.2, that's in great location, great price, it means that there's incentive for that seller to sell. I'm going to tell you right now, other buyers are doing the exact same thing as you, and that property is not going to last long. It's probably going to be picked up in a matter of days, literally days, like 1 or 2 days, that is. And when you negotiate with that seller, don't try to push them down even more, because you know what's going to happen? I see this happen from time to time, where a buyer sees a great deal, a great price, and still try to negotiate hard on that price. And usually what happens is another buyer sees that opportunity, and then you know what? They jump in. And then now your negotiation power is gone. And now you're in multiple offer. Sometimes offering list price just to get the seller to accept your terms and lock in the property might be just enough. but some buyers are trying to really try to push that envelope, and that usually ends up biting them in the butt. And if you're looking to sell in this market, you can make sure that you're looking at who you're competing with and pretend you're a buyer looking at all the properties, including yours, because that's how you should be pricing. Yes, comparables is, gives you an idea where your home is worth, but that might be on the upper end that doesn't exist anymore. So most likely, when you look at comparables, it's going to be under that price. Never above. That's the other thing. Never above. So we're not at the end of the recession part of the cycle yet, because we're not in recovery by any means. We're, like I said earlier, at that sort of interesting point where we're in the hyper supply, too much supply, and the recession part. And we're teetering back and forth between those two cycles right now. If you found this helpful, like this video and subscribe, because this is what we do. As I'll create future videos showcasing the market and how to win property in this market and how to essentially even sell in this market if you follow my tip. If you want help in this market, feel free to message me with the link below. Thank you, and see you soon.